What's up and good morning, guys? Welcome back to another video. This video is part 2 of my luxury elevated hunting blind build. And where we last left off, we got our piers dug, concrete poured, we've got our post bases in place, and well, the donkeys decided they were gonna leave their mark. So we got some donkey hoof prints there. This one looks like we got some donkey and some goat prints in there. Yeah, thankfully they stayed away from our post bases. So I also left these 2x10s in place because it locked everything in. Even if they really walked around them, they weren't going to do much damage. Albeit that was a hefty boy right there. That's you guys. One of you did it. Probably Willie. Now today we are going to begin framing. So if you guys know, all of this lumber that we're doing basically came from a shop mezzanine build that we were doing that we promptly got shut down on because they wanted a bunch more money, and yeah, wasn't worth it. So I've got these 6x6 posts that were going in the shop mezzanine. I mean, they were ready to go. They were already notched and everything for my 2x10s to sit on top of. So thankfully this is very similar to what we were going to be building in the shop. So a lot of the lumber is just going to cross over, right? It's like it's going to work out well. However, we only needed 3 of these in the shop. We need 4 for here. So HYPERLITE is going to come up today and help me frame, and he is picking me up another 6x6. That way I don't have to run all the way into town. So we'll start by removing this frame here. And again, as promised, we're going to be using the Harbor Freight 1/4" impact as well as drills and anything we need for this. The only thing I don't own is any Harbor Freight saws. So we will be using my Milwaukee saws, but I'm excited to really put these things to the test. Because, well, as you guys know, I'm hard on my tools. And a lot of people think when somebody gives you tools, like, oh, you're going to baby them because you're trying to do a review. But what's cool about that is, like, you can do stuff like that because you didn't pay for it, and I can give you guys a real review of what would actually happen on a job site. And that's like the 15th time I've done a drop demonstration for people to show that, like, these things are cool. So I fully intend on not babying these things. Let's get this out of here. Running out of reach here. All right, now you guys will notice that my piers are all at different elevations, right? We could have built up little boxes and poured the concrete up level, and then our posts could all be the same height. However, I didn't want a bunch of concrete sticking up. So instead, I'm gonna take my lowest point, which I believe is that one or that one. I think it's that one. And then from there, we're gonna come up and then we're gonna go level all the way across. So all the posts will be different heights, but the top will be level. And let me tell you guys, these 6x6s are heavy. We'll get our first one set in place here. Just get a little idea of what we're working with. Well, first we'll get this glue off the base so she sits flat. I love me a good snug fit. Now that gives us a good reference point. That right there is going to be the elevation of the hunting blind, which I think is going to be absolutely perfect. Now, the annoying part is doing it the way I'm doing it. I got to put these posts in place, run a board across because I don't have a, well, I have an 8-foot level, but not for the long ways. And we're gonna bring that up fine level. Then we're gonna transfer that mark to the bottom because I already notched these, so I wanna cut the bottom off. Now, since this post is not changing at all, this is the one that we're gonna lock in and we're basically building everything off of. So I've gone ahead and I've plumbed the post up in both directions there, looking killer. And then we're gonna lock this one in using, again, the Hercules with these SDS screws. We're using the socket adapter on there with a 3/8 socket. And well, you guys can see it is just effortless for the Hercules there. Now, she is locked in. I didn't put all the screws in just in case something has to change. I don't want to blow out all of those screw holes there. So she's locked in tight right now. She's not going to move. Let's get this one set in place. We'll level across, get this one cut, and then work our way around. Also, HYPERLITE just showed up, so we should have some help here. I hear him, though, firing up the mini truck. He loves that thing. Now, if you see on these post bases, they have the holes for the SDS screws, and then they've got a little hole right there. Usually what we use those for is we can shoot a nail in there or a screw, and that one just kind of holds it in place while you're figuring everything out before you actually lock them in with the SDS screws. Now that I'm looking at it, that one might be the lower post. It's a good thing I didn't put all those screws in. Let's see, this level should fit in between the two. And well, yep, unfortunately, my eyes have deceived me. We're about 2.5 inches off. That is in fact our lowest point. And then we've got a special post delivery right here in the mini truck. So we pulled this post down. This is a level line that we marked. We are 2 3/8. So we're gonna take that off the bottom because again, I don't wanna have to recut those notches. They're not fun, even though we're gonna have to do one more here. 2 3/8. We'll square all the way around because we don't have a saw that will cut this in one shot. Now the 12-volt Milwaukee circ saw is great for little things. It's always great to have in your toolbox because it's small, doesn't take up a lot of space, but not ideal for cutting stuff like this. Alrighty, she is cut. We'll get her back in place. Boy. Still good? Right there. So we've cut this board down to 8 foot now, which is going to be our full width. We're going to slap that one up just to kind of lock everything in before we start shooting this way to measure out these posts. We're going to use the mini truck here as a little ladder slash scaffolding. That should flush out with that, yeah, that notch on the bottom there. Hand it up to me, I'll set it up on that one and then we'll move the ladder over there. Ooh, ooh. Okay, so now we've run this 2x12 across, and it's not the most accurate way in the world to do this, but it's what's gonna span this. So we're gonna drop her down here until we see level. Shoot, we could have got away with a 6x6x8. Right there. Now we'll pull this one back off. So we can cut off the bottom here. So we are taking 23.5 fat off of there. So that's 23 9/16, which we would not have been able to get away with an 8-footer. We're not taking 2 feet off, so that's all right. That third one though could have been an 8-footer. So 23 9/16 off of this side. Now we use a Sawzall, well, the Milwaukee hacksaw, to finish the cut. There we go. I don't think that one's gonna work over there. I think I just threw away $100 right there. They're about $100 a piece, 90 something bucks or 80 something bucks. They are not cheap. Yeah guys, I royally screwed up there. Pulled my measurement from the wrong spot. Got cocky, made a cut. Now this one's way too short. How did I do that? Bottom of that notch is top of the whole board over here. That's where I screwed that up. Well, after that $100 mistake here, we're going to get this third one done, and now we need to go buy another one, but we should be good now. I've got the new notch marked out here, so we're gonna cut this. I'm gonna cut right there. Same with the skill, so I'm gonna run it down this side, there, and then finish everything up with the Milwaukee hacksaw. Okay, well, the new 6x is cut and notched. Let's get this in place and hope this works. I feel like there's a lesson here, guys. Let's come up with something right now. I feel like people should measure 2 times, cut 1 time. Nah, that'll never stick. So in an effort to just keep on going, we've put this one in place and we're just gonna kind of float that above there. Papa Rhino's working on something he thinks is gonna be solution. Worst case scenario, we could put some bracing in, we could pull that post back out and slide a new one in tomorrow, but it's just gonna take too long to go to the store and bring one back, and it's gonna just, everybody's gonna be standing around and not making any progress. So we're gonna keep chugging along here and keep going, but so far, it's looking pretty good here. It's a good size. I'm gonna work on doing my joist layout now. We've got the guys over here setting up some scaffolding because once we go to build the little hunting shack that's on this side, it's gonna butt up right to the edge there. So it's not like I'm gonna be able to walk all the way around the perimeter to work on that face of the building. So we're gonna do 2 rows of scaffolding right here, well, 2 frames high. But again, from now we're doing our floor joist layout. So we're pulling off of that far 2x10 right there that goes this way, and coming all the way down. And one thing to note, guys, if you're ever doing this, we're doing 16 on center. Don't go 16, then try to line your tape up right there. Mark 16, then move your tape down. So at that point, you're increasing your chance for error. And if you're off 1/8 over, you know, I don't know, however many feet, that's a couple of inches by the time you get to the end there. So you always want to pull from the same point, no matter what. Even as I adjust my ladder, I'm gonna come down here and then I'm gonna hook back over there. That way, if I mark one of these a little bit off, the next one can still be right because we're pulling from the same point. And it's not like we're gonna exponentially grow that issue. We'll mark our 16s, and then since we're pulling from the far side of the board, that means our board goes here. Always put an X on the side that the board goes on. Let's hook it back again. And then for real basic tape measure stuff you guys don't know, they already thought of the 16-inch layout. So all these red marks here are 16-inch increments. That way you don't gotta sit there and do math. And then again, when we go to do that side, we're gonna pull from the same side. That way these are all squared up and parallel with each other. You don't wanna start trying to pull back that way and hope that everything lines up. Now we're just gonna square down here. That way when we put our joists in, they are nice and plumb. In case you guys are wondering how urgent this is, we just had 2 coyotes trying to get into the chicken coop right now with us. Like, I don't even know. You know, we're 100 yards away and they're just not scared anymore. And we never hear them in the daytime. You'll get like early morning or super late at night, you'll hear them yipping and stuff. But now we've been hearing them all day long. I mean, I'm talking noon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever. You just hear them all day long now. And they're very brazen and very brave. So timing is ideal to get this thing done. But this is where we're gonna stop for today. Scaffolding is up tomorrow. We're gonna throw all of our floor joists in and maybe get the decking on. So we're gonna jump back on in the morning. Alrighty, day 2, let's get on it. Got some fresh coffee here. Living out here has turned me into a coffee drinker. I used to drink it like very sparingly, and well, I seem to be drinking it more. And it's not fun not spilling this going down this bumpy section of the property. Oh, we got Papa Rhino out here forever working on the mini truck. See, I feel like if I fix the mini truck, he's gonna get bored because he won't be able to like, because he won't be able to tinker on it all the time. All right, we'll get the saw set up here. Good morning, Willie. Good to see you, buddy. Now, we're gonna cut all of our floor joists here, and then we're gonna be doubling up the 2x10 by 12 footers on the edges right here. But before we do that, we're gonna put all these in, and I'm just gonna shoot them in with the nail gun real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll put our joist hangers. I could have attached the hangers while that board was on the ground, but in something this small, there's only 7 or 8 floor joists. We're just gonna shoot them in from this side with the nail gun, come in and we'll put our hangers after the fact, and then we'll slap on our doubled up board. Now that we've got all our floor joists cut, I'm gonna take this 2x4, I'm gonna slap it up underneath this 2x10, and I'm gonna let it hang out past. That way we can set all of our boards on it. We're not trying to sit there and hold them and hang them while bouncing on 2 ladders. So I'm gonna put one on each side, and then we'll just be able to set all of our boards and then just make a little fine tuning adjustment without having to hold the whole weight of the floor joist. And if you're ever gonna be doing anything overhead or in a weird spot, screw the screws in first, get them started. That way you only need one hand. Make sure we're gonna catch all but one. That'll be all right. Now we'll go ahead and get our floor joists all loaded up there. I can get them all into place first and then. Yep. So now that they're loaded up there, we're gonna grab the Milwaukee nail gun and just shoot these in again, just to hold them in place until we get the joist hangers on from underneath. A 2x4 there just makes it really a one-person job. You just roll around, come from up top here. All we gotta do is come to our mark. Now that our floor joists are all held in place, we're going to be using these hangers right here. And these can be either attached with nails and or these 1.5" Simpson screws here. If you want to nail these by hand, you can, or they make a hardware gun, which is a nail gun specifically designed to shoot through holes in hardware like this. I don't own one. I don't know if Milwaukee even makes a cordless one. I'm not a framer by trade. I don't do this enough to justify purchasing a gun, so thankfully they came out with this method. Otherwise, per manufacturer specification, you'd have to use nails and you'd be hand driving them, which that ain't no fun because there are 12 nails per hanger. So there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it takes 96 screws and / or you'd have to hammer in 96 nails in between each joist. Just, it's not fun. Thankfully we got the STS screws here, and again, it just gives us another chance to use the Harbor Freight Hercules 1/4 inch impact. And I'm using all the Harbor Freight bits. These things have a super strong magnet, so you can one-hand these, no problem. That does not go anywhere. And meanwhile, Papa Rano's just driving around trying to fix the mini truck. Let's go get these boogers installed. It's probably gonna be the longest portion of the video right here. Now they do have these little tabs right here that you can smack with a hammer, and it'll like temporarily hold it in place. There we go. And these nail or screw holes are not just a suggestion. You're supposed to use every single one of them. You guys can probably hear around me how poorly the mini truck is running. Papa Rano's doing circles right now around the hunting blind. Shoot these in at an angle. And I'm glad these stay real well with the magnet, because like these don't. So doing stuff like shooting left-handed right here kind of blindly would be a pain in the butt if they did not hold well. The most tedious part is done. All of those hangers are on, everything's looking good. Now we need to do the decking up there. So I've gone back and forth in my head on how I want to do this. Obviously we're going to build a little shack on that side, and this side's going to be open decking. So as like per standard, you know, outdoor deck, you've got like 2x6s, 2x8s, whatever you want to use on the outside. But that's going to put us at a height difference. So obviously if we go with a 2x material over here, it's going to be 1.5 inches high. And then where the actual little shack's gonna go, if we use 3/4 plywood on the end there, we're gonna be lower. I'd rather we not be lower than the outside. That way water doesn't want to infiltrate or anything like that. I'd rather we be a consistent height or higher where the building is. So I screwed up. I probably should have like step framed this a little bit or done something to where we could have just kept it all even. So what I think we might do, not 100% sure, is run either 2x6s or 2x8s across the entire thing. That way we have one solid plane all the way across, and then we'll frame out the little shack and then probably put plywood on the inside. That way there's no gaps in between the floor or anything like that. And then we'll be just a hair higher inside the little shack versus the actual outside deck portion. What? Got it out? All right, so Papa Rano got these anti-foulers out that I put in a long time ago because our spark plugs kept fouling. These are supposedly a little Band-Aid option here, and it keeps the oil from splashing on the spark plug. But it was also, if you tighten the spark plug down too much, the little end of the spark plug would just completely close up and touch, and you would need to re-gap it. So, all right, well, now that those are out, we'll see if it runs any better. While he's doing that, we're gonna run to the store, buy the next batch of materials here, and keep cruising. Well guys, I may have gotten a little wild with it, but we can't call it a luxury hunting blind if we're not going luxurious. So I might have also found my solution to my decking height issue, and well, we're going with some Trex decking. Stupidly expensive. However, we're only doing such a small section of it that, you know, it's not that expensive as if we were doing like a giant deck off the back of your house. And I think it's gonna be the right height to tie in once we do our 2x4 framing for the actual building. We might have a change of plans here. We got our best superintendent here, and he was over here inspecting things, and well, we failed inspection, right?
We failed.
Oh.
Tear down.
Tear down, all right. And by failed inspection, we were sitting here staring. I laid all the Trex up here just to get it up here and have somewhere flat to lay it so like the sun didn't make it do anything weird. And I was looking, I'm like, man, this is kind of really nice having this whole side decked here, because again, not only is this going to be like a coyote hunting blind, but it's also going to be an area where you can check out once we rebuild the pit bike track, and we're going to end up building an RC car track right here, so you can hang out up here and you know, you can drive your RC cars from here and have a nice deck up above. So we've been going back and forth, and I think what we decided we're going to do is we're going to take the building from being 8 foot by 6 foot this way, and we're going to basically flip it so it's going to be 6 foot by 8 foot, and that leaves us room right here to walk. So once this thing's built, and this board right here is kind of mimicking where the building's going to be, you have room to come over here. Obviously there'll be railing, and you can still hang out here. We'll build like a little bar height table here that extends out past the railing, so you can kind of hang out, put your drink, whatever. Oh.
You need to slow down there, buddy.
Am I talking too fast?
You need to slow down.
The coffee kicked in, bro. I'm talking way too fast. So I kind of like this idea. Plus we'll still have windows right along this edge that'll be probably about the height of the railing. So we'll still have full capability to take out anything that's like right here or anywhere around here. So I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna end up flipping the building. It'll be 6 foot that way, 8 foot this long way. We'll still have 4 foot by 8 foot of decking here, and then plus this nice full long strip. Now we've gone around here and pretty much finished up most of our rough framing on the deck portion right here. We've got our doubled up 2x10s front and back, and then we tripled up a 2x10 right here because that's where this edge of the wall is going to sit, so it gives us enough blocking and stuff to kind of bolt our actual building into, and then also have enough because we're going to be let's see, it's going to be about a 2x4 there for this wall, and then coming from this way we need the Trex decking to have something to screw into, so that'll be on that third guy right there. Now to figure out exactly where the building's going to go, we don't want to end up having to rip down a 12-foot section of Trex decking, so we're going to start putting the decking from our edge and come in to about wherever our 2-foot mark is. Then we'll put our plywood down for the base of the actual building, go from there and put our rip on that side. Now, I've never done Trex decking, so I don't really know what we're getting into here, but they didn't have the Trex hidden deck clips. We've got these boogers. Hopefully these work. How does that work? I don't know. That looks funky, man. I don't really. There you go, man. Check that out. These might only work on a. Oh wait, no, I'm doing it the wrong way. I'm a dummy. Goes that way. That's kind of funky. So they make end pieces. I didn't buy the end pieces. Oh, that's kind of cool. Well, I don't really understand this. It's gonna be a pain in the butt to slide all these in. All right, let's bring these together. Make sure all these clips go in. And then of course we're starting off with our second board's already bowed like crazy. So we ended up going one piece bigger on the side here, so it's a 28-inch walkway. It's enough to walk down here, stand. Again, should be better than the 24 that we had originally planned. Now we're going to flip this OSB around and then get this screwed down and figured out, and then we'll come in and we'll do our 4-foot decking up to the edge of this. I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap, that way when we go to do our sheathing on the end of the outside of this, it'll go below the decking. That way no water can go up underneath it. All right, nailed it. That's why you're here, buddy. You guys, geez.
I was just trying to.
We'll leave it. Oh, yeah, let's do it now. So we've got all of our OSB down. Now we're working on this little 4-foot section, and it actually ended up being 4.5 inch, which might screw us here because some of these boards are 12 foot 2 inches, which that'll work out. Those are 12 foot 1 inch. We could shrink it a little bit, but I want to make sure we got enough meat into this 2x4 to secure that end. So if I end up having to buy one more stick, it's not the end of the world. Well guys, we were able to adjust our cuts just a hair to make it work. This side's gonna get sheathing and then whatever exterior material we use, so we'll hide that gap a little bit. We still got enough meat that we're screwed into. So we ended up making it work, other than we do have to rip this piece down. I don't have my table saw here, but we gotta cut about 1/2 inch to 3/4 off that edge. But other than that, look at this. We got us a full deck and we have just enough of these guys to finish this out. And we are good to go. I'm glad I decided to go with Trex, albeit a much more expensive option, but you never have to deal with it. It's already finished now. We don't have to mess with it. Oh, Chris did tell me on the phone, why don't you go with Trex? Good job, buddy.
Never listens to me.
I listened to you.
One time.
Oh. Alrighty, we are making great progress. Stoked to get this thing done. Next step is framing our little shack here. And well, we got a good platform to build it off of now. I still do need to put some knee braces down below to keep this thing from kind of wiggling a little bit, but we should lock it in once we have those in. And yeah, we're gonna keep chugging along here. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have not subscribed already, please click the subscribe button now that we do not miss out on any future content. Don't forget to give this video a like, a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out workforapparel.com, because if there's anything you want in this life, you gotta be willing to work for it. You guys are the best. I'm out.
Damn.